Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of our Python tutorial. Today we're learning about lists and for loops. So let's dive in. What are lists and how to make them? A list is a data type to store multiple sorts of data type. Quite difficult, but not that. So I'm going to show you. This is a string. It has only one message or one item or one value. An integer also has only one value. Now a list can store different types and multiple types of data. So you can have two strings in one variable or in one value. So how to make them? We're going to make one. We're going to make it in a variable. So my variable will be called reservations. And we're going to make it by using the square brackets, and then we can make multiple items in it, such as strings, like given is one of our reservations, or tree, or a boolean like false, or all these types of data, just as dictionaries or lists. You can make multiple lists like this, and then you can print it out. See, you have different values and different items in one list and stored in one value. My voice is a little bit bad. I'm a little bit sick, sorry. Now that we know what and how to make lists, let's work with them and modify them. I have many things, and I'm going one-on-one. So maybe you want to add a list upon a list, just like these reservations, and then couple people at the last one, at the last minute. So I want to add last minute to reservations. Reservations dot extend, and then with last minute to run this, and then indeed maybe you want to add something to a list, but a specific string or data. So we can add something to reservations and another name, Luca. And now we add Luca to reservations and print reservations. Make sure you do your print statement after your append. Otherwise it won't work, of course. But this makes it always at the end of the list, and maybe you want to do it in the middle. You can use insert. And insert has two parameters. One of the index of the place where you want to put it in your list, and one, of course, what. Index also in part 1, but quickly wrap up. The first one is always the index number 0, and so it goes on. The second is 1, third is 2, and the fourth as index number 3. 3. So we want to do our index number. Maybe we want to do it as index number 2, comma, and then print reservation, and then you can see Luca is at index number 0, 1, 2. Maybe you want to remove something from the list. You can use the remove function and then remove the string you want to remove. Now, put in the string you want to remove. So maybe you want to remove Kyrie, and then it works. But maybe I want to just clear all my list and remove everything in the list. You can do clear, and see, your whole list will be removed. If you want to remove the last person in the list, you can do dot pop, and then the last person in the list or last item, it can also be a number, will be removed. Now, from why would you use dot pop? Or in what scene? I have a great scene where you can imagine like a race, 100 people, and the last one that arrives will be removed. And this way, you can use dot pop to remove the last one that arrives, so you can make a variable arrive, and then the first one, second, and the last one is the one that will be removed, and then a new race. And it goes on, and then you have a winner. So if you're once in this setting, you can use dot pop. Dot index. You can also use dot index to get the index number of the string or the value that you give up. So just as I did with Kevin, it returns the index number 0, but you can also use an in dot index. You can also use dot index for seeing if the certain name or value is even in the list. So if you run it, Karen is not in the list, so you can get an error. And now you know Karen is not in the list. If you want to see how much a value or a string is in the list, you can use dot count, and it will count the amounts of time a string or a certain value is in the list. Oh, error. Of course, you need to give up something before you need to give up something that it can count. And so I give the argument given, and now it's going to count how much times given is in the list. You can do dot sort. Dot sort is a function like all the others, what is going to make your list sorted out from ABC. ABC. So it's going Of course, the first name in the alphabet first, and then so on and so on. You can also do dot reverse, and we'll reverse the list. So Kevin, Peter, Kelly, Kyrie, and Kevin. And I will just reverse it. Maybe you want to copy it into another variable, like maybe just new equals, and then we can print out new. And okay, now we're going to do some repetition or exercise for what we just learned. We're going to extend reservation with last minute. So, and with this list, we're going to copy it, and we're going to get the length of all the reservations we have and print it out. So first we're going to extend. So we're going to make one list of all the people who are coming for sure because they reserved. So we can do that. I'll give you a bit of time to think. Maybe go back if it's needed. So let's go. Reservations. Do extend. And then last minute. They're exactly the same what we did before, and now we have this list. So reservations is now with Tom and Karen. So what are our expected guests? We're going to copy reservations and put it in expected guests. Dot copy. Now we want to get the length of our expected guests and how much. So how much guests we're going to have. Nice. And how we're going to do that is I'm going to teach you is so the minimum amount of people, amount of guests equals the length, can make the length with len, and then a list. Len will take the amount of items you have in a list or in a set of in a list or a tuple or a data type which can store multiple types of data like lists or tuples. We're going to learn that. So we want to get the length of expected guests and put it in minimum amount. So this returns a number of how many guests we have. And this is who and the names of our guests. So let's print it out. Let's print our expected guests. and the minimum amount of guests, because of course there can be people who don't reserve and still come. So let's see. We're successful because Tom and Karen are in one list because they called last minute, and we have our length or amount of guests that are coming. So we know how much tables. Okay, now let's learn about for loops. What are for loops? A for loop can iterate through a certain data or through certain numbers. It can loop over, and every time it will return a different or the same number. So every time it will go through a process. So now how to make? For loop, we're going to start with for, and then a variable. We're going to make a variable that will be iterated every time and that will be returned. So maybe or a number. For every number in let's make a list where we can iterate through. So let's make a list. Variable equals square brackets. Now let's type random numbers. So one value, comma. So we have now different numbers. If you put a space or no, it doesn't really matter. So for every number in all list numbers, the points there, and then an indent. This is automatically in your text editor, but if it's not, you can type or do a tab or do 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So for every number, print number. So what is our code going to do now? We're going to iterate through this list, and for every number we see, every number that comes in our way, so we're going 3, that's a number, we're going to print it. Next one, 4, print it. 6, print it. 8, print it. 34, print it, and go on. This is how for loop works. It will iterate through your list till the end, till there's nothing to return anymore. So we click on the run, and indeed it's going to iterate, and every time a new line. What makes it, you see that it's iterate, so it's 3 prints and it goes on to the next, and this is how for loops works. You can also do it with names. You can also do it with names, maybe, or your friends equals let's take, or maybe let's do maybe just name equals, we can also iterate through a string. See? You'll see number how is still possible, but this is just a variable that we assign in the for loop itself. And the name of the variable has nothing to do with the actual meaning of it. So you can type random things. You get some programmers like to do I or X, but we'll just stay with name or numbers. And we will iterate through the string, and every time we'll come across something, we will return it and print it. And this is how a for loop works. A thing you can also do, and what's used many times, is in range. In range is a function what has two arguments, the start and the stop. So I want to iterate from the number 1 to the number 10. In that range I want to iterate. Let's see. It was 1, 2, 3 till 9, not 10. So in range it goes from 1, the starting point, to 10, but not 10 itself. So how does our code work? We're iterating through this range function. So we're actually making 10 numbers, and our for loop goes through each number and iterates through the 9 numbers. The 10. No, 9. 10. Papa. 10. So now we're going to make an exercise on what we learned. We want to make a for loop that iterates through this list and returns the every meals. So I'll give you a bit of time. So I want to make a for loop, so we're going to start with for. And we want to now make our variable, or keep it simple, for every meal, of course in our list meals. Enter, and then if you don't got the intent, make sure you got 4 spaces, and then you can start by printing every meal that will be iterated in meals, the list. And that's how you can easily print out your meals, and want to put it like menu. So I want to print these are the meals, but let's see. This is the menu. Let's see if it works. This is not really what we wanted, because of course everything what's intended will be printed in every iteration, but that's not what we want. So let's print it outside the for loop and see. Yes, we can print out, and then everything in the for loop is iterated just like we wanted. this is how you can easily make a menu, and I hope you got it. So this was the video. Thank you for watching it through. And if you have some questions, drop them in the comments. If you liked it, if you learned if you liked it or you learned something, make sure to drop a like. Again, sorry for my voice. I'm a bit sick, but I really wanted to make a video. So yeah, bye.